Imo, Oye, Ogbon. Imo is knowledge, Oye is understanding, Ogbon is wisdom. We say that's the sound that created the universe when you put them all together. The Hindus say Om. We have that in another way. But it is a sound that we all carry inside of us. It's a vibration that we all carry inside us. We all carry inside of us Imo. We all carry Oye. We all carry Ogbon. Our life experience will bring us knowledge, understanding, wisdom. Those are three pieces that are strong in Ifa.
Welcome to the Eniplace podcast. I'm your host, Robin Nisbet. In today's episode titled A Sound That We All Carry Inside of Us, I speak with Awo Fasegun and Iya Fayomi Osundoyin, my Babalawo and Iyanifa from the Yoruba spiritual practice called Ifa. In this conversation, Baba and Iya give insights into what it means to be human from an Ifa perspective.
Ibasheomi, 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 Omio, Omio, Omio. Ibasheomi, Omi tutu, Omi tutu, Omi tutu, Aye tutu, Aye tutu, Aye tutu, Aye tutu, Aye tutu. Tutu Egun, Tutu Egun, Tutu Egun, Tutu Egun, Tutu Eniyan Rere, Eniyan Rere. We pray that the water brings us coolness and peace. We pray that the earth is cool and peaceful. We pray that the ancestors, Tutu Egun, that the ancestors are cool and peaceful. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Ile Tutu, we pray that your home is cool and peaceful. Ashe. We give thanks to water. Ibasheomi, 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 Ashe. Abuato, Robo Shishe.
Thank you so much for having a conversation with me today.
Of course.
Ashe. You're welcome. Ekabo.
So I'm here with my Baba and Iya, Awo Oluwo. You're my Oluwo.
Ashe.
Fasegun Falokun, and your Ogun name is Ogun Keye.
Ogun Keye Beni, yes.
And then Iya Fayomi Osundoyin Egbeyemi.
Yes.
Ashe.
Head priest and head priestess of Ile Rumila Afedefeo. And will you tell us what that means?
The names are so important in any culture, but in Yoruba culture, Falokun means Fa is reference to Ifa. It means that Ifa has blessed me and that I'm initiated into Ifa. Falokun, Olokun is the ocean. And it says that Ifa is as deep as the ocean. Some say that Ifa was carried across the ocean. That's more of a contemporary thing that some of the elders in Nigeria will say that is part of the diaspora connection. Ifa was carried across the ocean. Fasegun means that Shegun means victory. Ifa is, again, it's saying that Ifa will give you victory over whatever you need victory over. Usually it's stuff that you're battling, self. So Fasegun, again, the reference is Ifa. So if you see traditional Yoruba will have the Fa in front of their name, or if they have an Orisha in front of their name, it means they are traditionalists, they're Isheshe practitioner. Some of the modern day Yorubas, they will just say Shegun, but I say no, Ifa Shegun, Ifa Lokun. Ogun Keye means that I'm initiated into Ogun, who is the Rumule / Orisha of metals, warfare, healing, which is not talked about a lot, and then Orisha that gives you breakthrough, and like I said, connected to iron. So Ogun Keye says that Ogun brings dignity. You know, so the names are important. Ile Orumila Afedefeyo. Ile is house of Orumila, who is the owner of wisdom and is considered like our deity, akin with like Jesus. or a prophet or Muhammad, So Orunmila has many, many titles, but Ile Orunmila is our house of Orunmila. Afedefeyo is his praise name. Afedefeyo means Orunmila is a polyglot. He's the universal linguist. So anyone that comes to Ifa or that comes to our Ile can receive the blessings of Orunmila through divination, which we call Dafa.
So Fayomi means Ifa saved my life, which it did. I was given that name because the Odu that I received when I was called to get initiated, there was death around me. So Ifa saved my life. I got initiated. Ifa saved my life. Osundoyin means Osun becomes honey. And that's my Osun initiation name. The meaning of that, Osun becoming honey, can, in my interpretation, is that Osun definitely brings sweetness to my life, but also to be able to interpret all the ways in which Osun can bring blessings. And honey is sweet in various ways, and honey takes different forms. Osun becoming honey for me is that Osun can transform into sweetness anytime I need her to, which is always, but the different forms in which honey takes. Like Baba always says, it can be hard, it can be soft, it can be warm, it can be cool, but it's always sweet. And Egbeyemi is my Egbe initiation name, which means Egbe looks good. Egbe is good for me, right?
Yes. You could say Egbe is good for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, Egbeyemi.
So, like it sits well with me. It is good for me. I feel like is aligned for me. Yeah, those are all my names.
Beautiful. And I want to tell listeners that, Iya, you are the daughter of Baba, and you lead so well together. It's so beautiful. Your relationship is, it's so beautiful and so inspiring. Maybe if you tell us a little bit about what it was like growing up while your dad was on his spiritual path and you got exposed to all of this at an early age.
It's not lost on me what a blessing it is to have the parents I have. I think it's part of my destiny to be by my dad's side. So, other people call him Baba spiritually, but I call him Baba spiritually, and he is my father. But I also feel like we just have a pact that we made in heaven. He'll talk about his Odus, I'll talk about mine, and we're always connected. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be spiritually. And I've never been anywhere else. And so I've never run from this. It's never been something that I felt like was a burden. Some people might come to the planet with a certain energy and a certain responsibility, and they run from it because it feels too big. I've been prepared, I think, spiritually and on this plane to really be at his side. And some people have joked or maybe poked fun that I'm his protector and I take everything when it comes to him very seriously, and they're correct. I think I'm probably his first akapo. I will always make sure that he's well taken care of, that when he's not thinking about himself, I am the eldest daughter. So naturally, I think that comes to me, but I've always been by his side for everything. He always likes to say that we grew up together because my mom and he had me at a young age. And so I've been there in a way that happens when you have children at a young age. But my parents have always raised me with like a spiritual context. And I saw images of my culture around me always. And then there were lots of crystals put in my hands. If you mix metaphysics and Mexica and African practices, that's how I was raised. And then all kinds of ATR traditions were presented and around always. The Dagara system from Burkina Faso through Malidoma Some was very close to us for a long time. Yeah. That was like a huge entryway, which held big weight because Malidoma came into our home and stayed with us and did my brother and sister's, what we call Esentaye, but naming ceremony. Malidoma blessed me with the ideas and the structure of the Dagara ways. And, one of them is that I should wear yellow every Friday. Mm-hmm. And I've done that my whole life since I was, I think, 12. And it actually is in alignment with the fact that I'm an Osun priestess, and Friday is her day, and yellow is her color, golds and yellow. Anyways, it's all aligned. But then Ifa came into our lives in all kinds of different ways. But Baba was studying, and then I saw him grow in that, and I was right there, also getting dafa and learning more. And I've always just been there and not ever needed to be told, you can do this or you don't have to do this. Well, actually, he did say that to me once. He said, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. And I've never felt like I wasn't given a choice, although I think children should be raised with a spiritual practice because I think it only betters their lives. I just feel aligned with the role that I've played, and I've always just tried to support whatever my parents are doing that I can support in. And so it just happened naturally, but then I started getting initiated. And so then spiritually, I started walking the path, which then came to be in alignment with what we do, which is, he is my first teacher of Ifa, regardless of anyone else who has come and taught. I feel blessed that it's so easy to do this. And he knows that I respect him like he's a giant, but he also respects me because I think he respects my ori and what my destiny is in this. And so all I can say about that in conclusion is that I feel blessed to be walking my path, and my path includes being my father's akapo.
Ashe. The only difference is that I came here before her. I walk alongside her. She says she walks alongside me. I walk alongside of her. I just happen to be in this lifetime and in this agreement. I said I'm coming first, but this relationship is old. I mean, it's like primordial. I'm blessed. If you would have caught me a couple of years ago, I'd be bawling right now, but I'm good. And I'm so proud of her. Just as a human being, outside of her accomplishments with her job and being an Iya, just as a human being, she is a wonderful human being. And I'm always humbled that in Orun, in so the realm of what we say heaven, that we are connected. I'm humbled by it because it's not easy to do Ifa. Even though Ifa brings a lot of blessings, it's not easy to walk this path alone. And I don't. All of my children practice on some level. She's the oldest, but she came with a special ashe that I had to respect. Her Odu said that she is going to be a leader in the family. Ifa said it, and so she has always carried that since she was tiny. She has gifts. She has real gifts. This goes beyond just the support of a good daughter. She is my akapo. And akapo means somebody that carries the bag, but they carry a lot. They don't just carry the bag of the priest. She carries a lot. For many years, I was seeking to find certain elders for her. She has elders that are very good, but she also is an elder. She carries the ashe of an elder. That means someone that has humility, but also has power and doesn't abuse their power. That's it. No, she's strong. And so I don't take any of it for granted. She followed her ori, and her children are following in line, but there's no pressure, but she makes sure that they know this. So it's really, really important to support people's oris, because sometimes our oris are part of other people's oris and part of their destinies. So sometimes we have to be responsible for helping someone achieve something. This is very, very important. In Ifa, sometimes you have to say, what is my ori here to do? Ejiogbe talks about supporting. So our oris are supporting each other. Totally. Ashe?
There's so many ways in which I feel so honored and blessed that you're my elders and my teachers. Also, to name our lineage in Ode Remo and Ibadan, the Adesanya Awoyade lineage. Will you talk about the importance of elders? I think sometimes maybe in today's culture, we might have this idea of like, oh, you should respect your elders, and that means something like we're giving up some kind of our autonomy in some way. I think there's a lot of misunderstanding around what that means when it's really this, as you just talked about, this act of reciprocity, this way in which elders and people learning from elders are giving back and forth. And hopefully the people who are learning are growing into becoming elders, because it's a big responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot in that. The Orishas are elders. The Irumle are elders. Aye, the earth is our elder. Igi, the trees are our elders. Olokun is our elder. So first we start with that. The elders, the earth is the elder. That's why we 40 ballet to her. We touch our head to the earth. She's our elder. So Ifa teaches us, if you really begin to try to understand it a little bit, it teaches us to respect elders. So all the forces in nature are elders. They were here before us. But then if we go back and we talk about the physical elder, that's the ancestors. Those are our physical elders. The one that comes before you is supposed to be your elder. In the physical realm, it's supposed to be your elder. They come first for a reason. They come first. So it is our duty as the one who walks ahead of you, the one who comes first, is to be able to create a lane for people to follow you. And it's not always easy, but a lot of the young people have a lot of ashe and a lot of energy, but there's also some disappointment with the elders, because some of the elders have not been taught how to be elders. So my son is always talking about, we need to have apprentice. We need to have people that we're working under and respecting. So becoming an elder requires a lot of humility. My opinion, when you have humility, it empowers you. People don't have humility, they become tyrants. And they're pushing their eldership on people. A child is gonna follow. They may wander, but then they're always looking for the elder. They will look for the elder. When they find their parent or their sibling that's older, they will follow. So the question is how do you lead? And how do you prepare yourself to be a leader? I'm preparing myself to be a leader, an elder, once I leave the planet, because I'm still an elder. My spirit becomes the elder that stays. My spirit becomes the elder that stays. So once I'm gone, physically, my spirit is the elder. So people will have something to follow. That's why Orisha is so important, the selected ones. The Orishas are elders that came before, that they came before to give us a path to follow. Whether it's good or bad, we should be learning from the negative things, but really enhancing the good things. My elder in Ifa, I started with his father, Falolu. Adesanya wo yade, we say Oluwo. I started with his father. His father initiated me and was best he could teaching me because he didn't speak English. And now he is my elder. Now his son is my elder. And I guess he's your age. He's in his mid-40s.
Yeah, he's like a year younger than me.
Yeah. But he's my elder. But he respects me because chronologically, I'm his elder. But when it comes to Ifa, he is my elder. So the other piece of that is becoming an elder also should make you humble. Mm-hmm. Because now, she's my elder in some ways. As a woman, she becomes my elder because she can teach me things about womanhood that I don't know. And from a different perspective, something that maybe I didn't learn from my mother, maybe I didn't learn from my wife, but maybe I learned certain things from my daughter. So this thing of elder, it's moving. Although it's moving forward, it also can move to the behind you. It can also move to the right of you. The right of you, it can move to the left of you. But we need them. There is a system. The 16 Odus, they have elders. The 16 Meijis are the elders of the Apola, the other Odus that come behind them. All the Odus, they have to follow. That's why Iwori Meji is the third is the third. Ifa says in Iwori Meji, don't try to be Ogbe Meji, don't be Oyeku Meji. Be good, I'm being third. So there is a system of being an elder. There's a system that Olodumare has put in place for us to follow.
The idea of being an elder and humility and character all go hand in hand. I think that just in life, the people who learn how important humility is will automatically be striving for good character. When you're willing to put yourself in a position of being humble, it also makes you look at things differently. Even if you might know someone who has 3 master's degrees, but that doesn't mean that they know more than their grandparents who may have never even graduated high school. There are different levels of understanding and living, and being humble is to understand that everyone has a knowledge that is worth hearing, and being a good leader one day means that you've humbled yourself enough to acknowledge every human being as having something important to give to you, or there to be an exchange, which is why the best leaders can acknowledge every person as someone who is important, as opposed to, I'm the boss and you listen to me. Being an elder and being a good leader means that what the person in front of you that's looking or seeking knowledge, whatever they're going through is important, and you impart knowledge upon them, but then in turn, knowing that they might be able to share something with you. Baba can trust his Oluwo, the son of his first Oluwo, to give knowledge, because his Oluwo also gives him respect, because he's been a man on this earth, walking this earth for much longer. He's been a father for much longer. He's been a husband for much longer. So he can give him knowledge as a Baba. The reciprocity is always really important. And as students, we need someone to support us.
Yes.
The path of walking as a human being is not singular. And I think that is where things are starting to get really unhealthy and muddled today, is that people are in so much pain that they think that being singular is the answer because people have hurt them. But the answer is the healing will come from the community. There are going to be bad people in the world. There are going to be people who wrong you. But healing comes from finding the community that you can dive into and be yourself around and tell you the truth and share knowledge and push you forward. As human beings, we need help, or else babies would be born into this world and just start running around and making their own breakfast. We're not elephants. We're not giraffes. We don't get born and then start walking. And even in the wild kingdom, they still need their mothers, right, to get to a certain point, and then they go out into the world. Well, we do the same thing, but we depend on other human beings to survive. And that happens throughout life. And that is what makes what being a human being is special, because we need each other. And it's so important to not let humanity disappoint you to the point where you don't want to be involved in the community anymore. And a lot of us are getting so pained that we do that. We shut off from the world. But what I think that is a spiritual disconnection. And so when you allow yourself to be so hurt by the actions of others that you retreat and disconnect, is the most pain, and that's when you'll start dying a slow death, is when you excommunicate yourself from your community and the world. That's when it will become the worst it could become. And because we need each other, we need connection, we need to touch each other. Otherwise, our skin wouldn't feel. Our ears wouldn't hear anything. Our mouths wouldn't taste. Like, we're meant to be together, sit at a table, share food, pass a drink around, hug each other. Like, some people, you hug them and you have no idea what they were going through, and you've healed 50% of that by just a handhold, grabbing someone's hand, it can change everything. And that's because that's how we came to this planet, to be together.
That's Osagunda. Ifa says the hair on the head came together. The bees came together. The grass came together. It's not a single thing. Remind him of Irosun Iwori that talks about Eniyan. Eni is person, Yan means to choose. Ifa says the human beings, and Irosun Iwori, the Odu. Human beings were the specially selected ones to bring good things from here to here. The Odu's deeper than that, but that piece is huge. Eniyan. Eniyan, the specially selected ones. That's what Orisha means, the specially selected head. Ifa saying that we're all selected. And some people come here and somebody got to be the bad guy in the story. Where else would we learn the lessons? And part of that is those people that are carrying Oriburuku, which is bad head. We should be learning from that. Hopefully they keep having lifetimes where they learn and they elevate. They elevate. Because Irosun Iwori speaks of people not elevating. And they were asking, why do we have to keep coming back? Why do you have to keep coming back? Until you have attained the good position. That's what Ifa says. Until you have attained the good position. So you keep coming back and keep coming back. Imo, Oye, Ogbon. Imo is knowledge, Oye is understanding, Ogbon is wisdom. Those are, we say that's the sound that created the universe when you put them all together. That's the sound that created the universe. Like the Hindus say, Om, we have that in another way. But it is a sound that we all carry inside of us. It's a vibration that we all carry inside us. We all carry inside of us Imo. We all carry Oye. We all carry Ogbon. But our life experience will pull out or bring us knowledge, understanding, wisdom. But those are three pieces that are strong in Ifa.
As you know, the name of this podcast is the Eniplace podcast. So it's speaking to...
The Eniplace.
You got it right away.
And so I wanted to hear from both of you about Eniyan. And the tagline for the podcast is that it's about journey, home, connection, and spirit. So really this came as a desire to connect with people on my travels and to share those connections and then to bridge understanding, maybe in places where one person might not have a context for understanding what this person is doing on the other side of the world. But then through storytelling, we can cultivate more understanding. Yes, and you're talking about understanding, wisdom, and knowledge, and those three things working together for us as Eniyan. Is there anything else that you want to talk about with Irosun Iwori?
If you think of yourself as Eniyan and being a specially chosen one, then you should automatically come to the planet and start figuring out what the path to loving yourself looks like. Because how would you be specially chosen to get here and not do that? And then you can go into the blood and the body and the brain and the connection and how important all of that is. But if you, and like people joke all the time, like out of all the sperm, one made it through and connected to that egg, and that's a special journey. That's not an easy thing to happen. People think it happens easy. It's not easy. And so if you got here through all the adversity, and no matter, you can go back into history and time, and to be here and born into this place now is a special thing. So why would you not then try to gain understanding and knowledge and wisdom of how to love yourself?
Yeah.
We shouldn't come this far to then hate ourselves. And doing that and starting to love ourselves, you then can go out into the world and understand how important it is for you to love others. And then when you love someone else, they should reciprocate that love. And then sometimes you ain't going to get it right. and then you'll get heartbreak, and then you'll gain knowledge and understanding and wisdom through that heartbreak, and then learn to love someone better the next time. And then you just keep doing that. And we just do this dance as human beings. But I think the goal is to start with your own head and understand how to love yourself so that you can take that energy, that really special divine energy that was poured onto us to form us into these human beings, to then walk out into the world and share your essence and yourself with everyone else. It has to start with you, and it has to start with loving yourself. And it doesn't mean that you have to be perfect, but you can find all the things within you that God made that make you special and worthy of love. And once you love yourself, then you can walk out into the earth, onto the earth, and people will respond to you in kind because they see it.
Ogbeyonu talks about Mogbarimu. I hold my own head for support. That's really, really important. When people love themselves, they don't do destructive things to themselves. They don't. If you love yourself, you're not going to see a cutter. You're not going to see somebody slamming their hand and they're not going to hit their head. No. Once you start to do that, it's self-care. It's self-care. And then that extends to when I think of things, I'm like, why would I hurt myself? I'm going to hurt her. Mm-hmm. So now you start to look at your relationship with people you love and that love you. And sometimes people that you know they love themselves, sometimes that love of self can help heal someone else. Mm-hmm. That can help heal someone else. It's so important. And all these concepts they're in Ifa. You said something, both you guys said something. Oyeku logbe. Ayeloja runile said, heaven is home, the earth is the marketplace. But for the Yoruba, the marketplace is an important place because that's where everything's happening. Moving and grooving is on the marketplace. All these dynamics are happening here. That's why we put so much emphasis on here. We don't say, oh, when I die, things are going to be better. Ifa says that live a good life here because this is the add-on to the next life. We talked about reincarnation. This Irosuniwori talks about reincarnation. Oyeku Logbe speaks on that. We're talking about keep working on it, keep working on it, keep working on it. It's not about perfection. It's about the journey. Ayeloja orunile. Ajo is also meaning journey. It's journey. Ifa says, what is the journey? It's not going to be easy. Sometimes the journey involves a lot of things. Is there a lot of strife on your journey? Is there a lot of conflict with your family on your journey? Is there a lot of conflict with people being jealous of you? So then that also makes you look inside. Like Fanera always says, who are you in the story? Who are you in it? So it goes back to your Ori. What did I do to create this? Ifa says this, stop and look at yourself. The marketplace is fascinating. I've heard people from other belief systems, what do you call these people? Channels and things like that. I've heard different channels and people in that realm say that Earth is the most difficult and the hardest place to come to. I've heard at least 4 different folks say that in that realm. And I thought that's interesting that they all say that. Because Ifa talks about many realms and all these different connections to solar systems, universes. But the Earth is a deep place. I mean, look at what we're going through now. It's a deep place to learn on. What is your journey? What is your function in the marketplace? What is it? Some people just come here to hang out. They're not trying to do anything else but hang out. They have lifetimes that are good for them. This is not this big grandiose thing. Some people's lives are what they are. The question is, are they happy with what their life is? Doesn't have to be this big, I'm supposed to, what am I here for? Sometimes you're just here to love yourself, period. And then sometimes it's to make sure your family's good. Other people's, it goes out. The people that have the bigger responsibility have to do right. They have to do right. It's like Ifa says, if you get caught doing something negative, this is from Ogun perspective. Ogun can put you behind bars to save your life. If you get caught, that's a chance to clean something up. That's a chance to change. That's a chance to heal if you get caught. It's not always a punishment. That's why Ifa says, Tibitire jiwapo, good and bad come together. So anytime somebody gets caught doing anything, and then they continue to do it, I'm like, okay, now you're making a choice. And this is the beauty of being on earth too, is that you have choices. That's why Ifa will say, the ebo was done, the ebo was not done. The sacrifice was done, the sacrifice was not done. We always recommend when you get divination, dafa done, that you do the sacrifice. You do the offering. We recommend that you do it, but it's like, that's why back home they will say, it's your choice. But we say we recommend, and these are the results that can come from doing this and not doing it. We have some agency in a lot of things. But the whole thing is, has her life been better because of what I've done? Has my life been better because of what she's done? It's really, really that simple. In the Congo, they say, remember how you met me. Remember how you met me. How do you, when you first meet someone, what are the circumstances? Oh, I meet you at work and she's busy. I'm not doing that. And somebody says, man, she was rude. She didn't even take time to really, she's at work. She's working. Every time I travel, I look at people and I go, man, this person might be going to get initiated. They might be going to Bali to do some ritual in Bali. They might be going to get tefa. Oh, this person is going on their last trip. They may not come home. This person has just got an illness. Somebody in here just got a call that somebody's dying. Somebody just got a call that somebody's pregnant. That's the marketplace. So when you travel, you're seeing all of this stuff happening with life. You don't know. Travel is another thing that will open up your world. And now the world's becoming, because of Ogun's technology, the world is becoming smaller, but it's still big. It's small, but it's still big. It's big and it's still small. You've traveled, you've seen things that most people are never gonna see. They're never going to see. Years ago, when I was doing all my traveling, Fayomi says to me, Baba, you know that your life is like National Geographic. And I went, yeah, it is.
Yeah, because it's true. Like, he's experienced things that people only see in a documentary or in a book. And also, he's experienced a lot of things that no one's ever written about or recorded.
Pretty amazing. Wow. The life that we have, especially as Orisha people, our world is pretty deep. Our world is pretty deep. I mean, look at your life. You never know what someone's experience is, and it should give you another understanding. This is where Oye comes in. That travel should give you a deeper understanding of humanity. And even just yourself. I mean, you cannot, if I said the person who leaves the house in the morning is not the same person that comes back in the evening. There's always, as soon as you walk out the house, there's potential, not always, but there is potential for you to learn, to experience something that can change your life or enhance or kind of bring you a little bit of stress. It's life, but it's fun, it's fascinating. That's what I love about Ifa.
You covered so many things, and I'm so glad that you also brought up Aye, Loja, Orunile, because that's an important aspect of what this podcast is about. Not just the journey on Aye, but the journey coming to Aye and being here. So just to locate where we are, we're in Highland Park, Los Angeles. We're on the north side of the LA River. And I love that, Baba, you are on the south side of the LA, just right across the river, but very close to it, which is so beautiful. And I was thinking about that this morning on my morning river walk at the Ventura River, just thinking about the watersheds. I like to locate the watershed in wherever we are. I've come across a lot of people recently who, when I start to talk about ancestor work, there's a sort of resistance of, I don't I don't want to talk about my ancestors. I don't want to think about them. They did bad things, and that's not me. What would you say to people who are resistant or have some kind of bad feeling when they think about their ancestors?
Well, this is a big one for me.
Yeah.
So there are levels to it. I think it's very, very harmful for people to not acknowledge their ancestry, whether it be good or bad. There is not one person in the universe who doesn't have one person in their lineage or several that have done bad things. And there is not one person who doesn't have people in their lineage that have also done good things. There are some people who have been the most atrocious people in history, and they went home and they loved their children.
Yeah.
And you ask their children about the kind of mother or father they were, and they will say nothing but good things. There are people in this country specifically that are struggling with their ancestry having done something, even if they don't know the specifics, which is also a problem. You came from a lineage, and that lineage got you here. And to not acknowledge the very fiber of your body and your being, which is your DNA, is very, very harmful. It's harmful to the core of who you are, because the core of who you are came from your ancestry. To not acknowledge the people who came before you, you might as well not acknowledge yourself, which I think is a problem. People have been doing that, not acknowledging their ancestry, which in turn starts to eat you from the inside out. Because then at some point, you not acknowledging parts of who you are makes you hate parts of who you are. And it might be unspoken, but that's just the nature of it. And it's harmful to a place that can make you sick. The problem with it is that you're forgetting the parts of you that are also good. And in doing that, you're forgetting where you came from and who you are. The most harmful of all is that you're not acknowledging the pain that you're carrying from those things that you might be disapproving of. And when you do that, that pain doesn't get acknowledged, and you can't name it and you can't release it. So then you're going to essentially pass that down for generations to come, because you weren't willing to face the thing that's hard to talk about. And that could be a rapist, child abuser, someone who battered women, abused men, whatever it is in your family. It could be any number of things, alcoholics. The things that people do that we deem as horrible and bad and negative, if you just push it down and say, I'm not talking about it, then guess what? It's going to keep on going. Right. Until you say, I'm going to acknowledge it, I'm going to name it, and then I'm going to work through it. And also, for the sake of the generations to come, you have a responsibility. It starts with the responsibility to yourself, because the people who choose not to acknowledge their ancestry, there's something that you don't like. And that lack of acknowledgement is a form of self-hate.
That's right.
And it'll just start to chip away at you. And really, it chips away at your spirit. So this kind of work needs to be done spiritually, in our opinion. You can't just say, nah, I don't think so. I don't want to. I'm not taking them. I don't want these people. If everybody in your lineage was the most evil person, you wouldn't have gotten here. Somebody had to make love.
That's right.
And it's more important to go back to where things weren't bad and to pull from the happiness and the joy and the love. That is way more important than the one or two or three people who did things that were horrible. You're erasing your whole lineage because of the handful of bad people. We can't do that.
No, that's where Imo knowledge. What is the knowledge of your ancestry, good or bad? Oye, understanding. What is the understanding of it? Those two right there, and then hopefully you gain some wisdom out of that. Ogbon. So Imo Oye, what is the knowledge of your ancestry? What is the knowledge of just who you are? Once you have knowledge of something, now you're doing magic. So what is the knowledge of your family? And what's the understanding of your family? And then hopefully you will gain some wisdom around that.
There are African Americans that don't talk about their ancestors because they were slaves.
And I've had that in our family.
So they won't talk about it. And so we're like, well, can you tell us a little bit more? What part of the country and what was it like when we know that your parents were enslaved, but you won't share it with us. So we want to understand what that felt like, what it looked like. Like you're our direct line to understanding that time period in our history, and we don't have it because people are either it's too painful or they're ashamed. So we've lost a whole chunk of time. People allow whole chunks of history to be erased because they don't want to deal with the pain.
Yeah.
And so what does that do? It passes the pain, but now there's a pain and a question mark. And we're like, we can only do so much because they wouldn't speak.
Yeah. It's real, right? The Imo and Oye, knowledge and understanding. Because that's why people go, now I understand. Now I understand. That's why you hear people say, you understand? You understand? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You feel me? The language starts to get wrapped around all the things of how we're responding to things. But if you don't have any knowledge of anything, you're just going to think, why did this happen? Are they just this way? Is it just that way? Is this, there's all these pieces and components to it. There's structure. There's even structure to chaos. Things can seem chaotic, but there's some type of structure to it. There's some type of structure to chaos. Things just don't happen. That's why we have the Odus that will teach us about the human condition. You know, the Odus are there for a reason. And again, they have a structure to give us the knowledge of something and the understanding of something. Then when we put those things together and we make them work, that's when we have the wisdom. The wisdom becomes part of the Odu, becomes the successful side of the Odu. So we said, all these things happen, so now we have wisdom, now we have some medicine for you. The medicine comes from knowledge and understanding something. And then hopefully we get the wisdom out of it. I want to have as much fun as I can. Why we're doing it, that's the whole thing.
What brings you joy, Baba?
My family, definitely my family. I mean, there's so many things, Iya, there's a lot of things that bring me joy. But my family and seeing my people happy and seeing people succeed and seeing people do what they like doing. Like, this brings me joy. Seeing you do this, that makes me feel good. Especially when I see people that have gone through some stuff and struggled. Seeing people happy. When I do divination for someone and they go, thank you so much, oh my gosh, I'm good. I'm not happy, I feel joy. I feel joy. Fayomi will tell you, one of my favorite things is hearing a playground of little kids laughing. That's one of my favorite things. Or when I just hear people cracking up, I love it. I love it. And then I also like when I see people training martial arts and they're hitting the bag and that gets me. I like to see good fights. I love to see good fights, but when people aren't malicious. I like to see good pow, 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 pow. But when people aren't malicious, that I don't like. I don't, that's why I stopped watching UFC. It started to become something else. But that's the part of me, the Ogun side of me, I like to see that energy.
Yeah.
But then again, I love it when I see people loving up on each other. As I've grown older, I have different things touch me. I have different things that bring me joy. Now I love food. Maybe that came from COVID. I've turned into really, we watch so many food shows, and preparing food, I'm looking at the ashe in that. Ooh. And all of that has touched me. All of it. I mean, from watching the energy around that, so as I've gotten older, I'm getting different pieces of things that bring me joy, and really I'm feeling that, because so much of what I do is I sometimes have to deal with some tragic stuff. I have to see people go through some hard times.
When you're talking about there's structure to chaos, is that in the realm of understanding? I feel like Eshu is such a big energy that
yes.
I feel so close to Eshu for many reasons, and I feel like part of this podcast is being governed by Eshu to create understanding, like in places where people don't. There's a Vonnegut quote from Sirens of Titan. It's something like, the world is an awfully big place and there's room enough for two people to disagree and both be right, or something like that. So, and when I heard that quote, I was like, oh, that's Eshu.
That's Eshu. Totally. Yeah. That is Eshu's function, to bring chaos into structure and structure into chaos. That's Eshu's function. So there's a story, I can't remember the Odu. It's a lot of people in Ifa know the story of the two farmers. You know this one. Of the two farmers, both their crops are doing very well. They were supposed to do annual ritual to help things continue to go well. And they didn't want to do it because they said, we don't really deal with Ifa anymore. We're not doing that stuff. We're not doing sacrifice. We're good. Both of us are good. We don't need it. The diviner said, well, you need to do it. You need to make an offering to Eshu because Eshu is blessing you. They were arrogant. They didn't want to do it. So Eshu goes at the end of the road, and he's wearing black hat on this side, red hat on this side. And he gets there and he makes a lot of noise. He's crazy making noise, and he walks down the road. And one guy on this side, they said, did you see that fool in the red hat the other day walking down the street making noise? He goes, yeah, I saw him, but his hat was black. He goes, no, it was red. It turns into a thing. He gets on the other side of the road, and now he turns around, so now the hat is flipped. So what happens, they both start arguing over what they saw. Then they end up seeing the same color. Eshu was bringing chaos into something that had been structured. And what is it? He's on the road. He's doing it on the road. He didn't go into their property or their farm. He did it on the road. So Ifa's saying, when you're on the road, what are you seeing on the road? Because if you walk down the road at one time, you're going to have one perspective. But when you come back, you will have another perspective, So you're walking on the road, Eshu's walking on the road. You're over here, I'm over here. If you went across and went on my side, you may see something different. Vice versa. If you go down the road, you're going to see something different. So it's all about perspective and point of view. So Eshu was teaching them, don't get stuck. Don't get stuck in the way you see things. If you do, that's where it can create problems for you. So Ifa's always saying, Tibitire Jiwapo, good and bad come together. We need to see Iwontunwansi. That's when the Odus came. The Odus were the Meijis. The 16 Meijis were the same. But then when they started to blend, we got something different. And so now with the blending of the Odus, we got something different, and we got different perspectives. Ifa says there's 256 perspectives that we know of. Is deeper than that. Some folks say that for the 256 Odus, scriptures, there's 256 verses. Some people say there's 800 verses. Some people say there's 1,000. That tells you how the life experience is. And your life experience adds to the Odu. So what you're living now, what we're living now, adds to something that came before we were even here. Or was it? Because in Ifa says there's no time. So there's no time. So Eshu plays a part in everything. That's why Eshu sits at the back of our head. Eshu is always with us. Eshu Ipako, That's why he sits at the back of our head. That's why when we make an offering, we'll touch the offering to the back of our head. Because we're honoring Eshu. Eshu Mashemio, Eshu, please don't confuse me. Yeah, Eshu's amazing. Eshu covers us and supports us and gives us free will. That, we have it, but Ifa says you can do good or bad, but are you ready for the consequences? It's simple. So that's Eshu's function. But Eshu is Eshu Olopa. Olopa means a policeman. Eshu's policing. Baba says that Eshu is who's the person that checks your passports when you come through? And he's like, why are you here? Immigration. Baba says Eshu is immigration, and he is. When the Ajogun come to earth, they have to stop at the crossroads. The Ajogun have to stop at the crossroads. And who do they deal with? They deal with Eshu and the Iyami. That's who they deal with, Eshu and the Iyami. When the Ajogun are coming, Eshu's like, hold on, guys. Can I see your passports? Where you going? Where you going? Arun says, I have an appointment and I'm going to meet my friend Obaluaye. We're bringing measles. We're bringing measles. Where you going? Oh, I'm Ibanuje. The measles people are gonna die. I'm Ibanuje. I'm going to bring grief. So now what happens is that she's like, okay, let me give you guys this, give you guys that, give you guys this. The Ajogun and Eshu, they work hand in hand. So that's why years ago an elder told me, how do we make the Ajogun functional? How is, we talk about all the time, how is death functional? How is illness functional? How is Ejo, fighting, contention functional? How is loss functional? Sometimes you got to lose something. You have to lose something so that you can get something, so something else can replace it. So when we say, I lost this and I gained that, this illness, I changed my diet because, what I was eating was killing me. So now they changed their diet. They say, no, my kids aren't eating this stuff. So now they have affected their children's life and their ancestry has changed now. All these things, they work together. So we're talking about Eshu's relationship with humanity, Eshu's relationship with the Ajogun, with the things that we say are the warriors against man, but how can we make all those things functional? I said Ibanuje, which is grief, and Eru, which is fear. Those two, to me, are huge. Any place where you see there's problems is fear. Fear is huge. Fear that's why we have the problems. When there's war, it's because of some type of fear. Somebody wants to control somebody because of something, the fear of loss. But then there's also the comfortable side of fear. You're a fighter. You learn how to defend yourself out of fear of getting your teeth knocked down your throat. How am I going to protect myself? That's when fear is positive. So sometimes you need a certain amount of fear. Fear can protect you. I'm not scared of anything. It's like, okay. Eshu is so deep. Eshu is so deep. That's why all the Orisha, they will have their own Eshu. Eshu Odara. Eshu Odara is the Eshu that we hear about a lot. Odara means, Ara is depending upon the tone, right? Odara means something, Eshu does something that's wonderful, something that's magnificent. That is Eshu's energy. You can't really explain Eshu's energy. We can try, but Eshu is just so faceted and needed. And needed, yeah.
Thank you, Baba.
Sure.
When you were talking about perspective and Eshu being at the back, I was thinking about, I was up in Mittelha Canyon, this canyon up in Ojai the other day, and there's a part where the path stops and then you have to kind of follow this, you start rock hopping and you kind of just have to know the way. Yeah. And if you don't pay attention to where you came off the path and make a mental landmark, you're not going to find it. while I was walking, I have to continually remind myself to turn around and look from this side, because everything looks completely different when I look this way versus when I'm just looking ahead. It's so important for us to look behind us. I think speaking to our conversation around elders and Ogun and being in this culture that is somewhat amnesic, we forget so easily what our history is. So I think that Eshu is reminding us of that as well.
That's Ogbe Wori. It says, make sure you look back. Make sure you look back. That Odu comes, you do this. You look back. And Eshu will force you to look back. Eshu will force you to look back. Because, again, you know, there's no linear time. Time happens from Orun, Aye, your past and your future. And Eshu is involved in all of that.
What is your prayer?
I pray that human beings, we talked about joy. It sounds like the thing to say, to find their joy. And part of the joy is finding your joy in having a strong ori, that you feel confident, that your head is ori agbara or ori ija, that your head fights for you.
Sure.
So because you know, Emi went to find an ori. So sometimes our Emi gets damaged, our spirit gets damaged, so we have to fortify our head. And so when the two work together, I'm praying that our Emis are not damaged, and that our Oris are not damaged, and that people are, like Ogbeyonu, respecting themselves and holding their own heads. And that to me, I always said, Fayomi will tell you that I always told them since they were little, love yourself up. And you love yourself up, that's my prayer. Love yourself up. Then you don't do damage to yourself, and you don't damage other people. You know, that for me, it's, you know, the main thing is to love yourself up. You know, hold your head, mo body, mo.
It's all connected now, but I pray that people really ingest what Eniyan means, is that being a especially chosen one is to mean that you should, in fact, honor yourself. The fact that you made it here as a human being deems you special. And in that, we should be honoring ourselves, loving ourselves, looking in the mirror, and knowing that our purpose is worthy of what we came from heaven to earth to accomplish, and that as worthy individuals, as specially chosen ones, we need to treat ourselves with respect. We need to carry ourselves with respect and love, and the journey of what our destiny is, what we're here to accomplish, should always include honoring oneself. So when you wake up in the morning and you hold your head, you're holding your head lightly, with love, with care, with honor, with respect, because the energy that we give ourselves on a daily basis should reflect that of which God created us to be. And, you know, we weren't sent here to treat ourselves poorly and in turn go out into the world and treat others poorly. We were sent here to fulfill our destinies. And that is based in love and respect and joy. And it's a special, special thing that we even got here. So my prayer is that people really understand that the energy of God is within us, but within everything. And that we have to give ourselves more grace and more room to grow and love. And the more we pour into ourselves, the more that energy can come out of us. And then we can actually move through the world in a more compassionate and loving way. And then things just get better. So yeah, my prayer is for people to really find those things within them to love and then be on their path in a loving way. And that gives you confidence, that gives you humility, and that gives you a closer relationship with God, which is what I think we're all striving for, to have that connection that we came here, that chain that we came down on, to always be strong. And it will never break. And it might get weak, but that weakness comes when we let all these outside things tell us that we're not worthy and we're not good enough. But we are, and that's how we got here in the first place. So to really lean in to the word Eniyan will mean to start self-love in a way that's deeper than you've ever felt before, deeper than you ever known before. That has to start with you. That ashe that you came to the planet with, let it radiate, let it resonate, let it be felt by other people in a good way, that your name is spoken well. Ashe. And if it creates jealousy, it's only because you're shining really brightly. So let Eniyan be exactly what it is. Stand in what that word means. Know that you're special. Know that you're here for a purpose, and then walk it. And you'll just get big, and your destiny, your path will be strong and secure, and your Egun will smile, and Orisha will smile, and the Erumale will smile, and Ifa will smile, and Olodumare will smile. And if everyone did that, it will be so yummy and good. And if we can all just lean into how great we are, even when we're not feeling that great, knowing that we were specially chosen to be here, then it can't help but be so.
Ashe.
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 Thank you so much for listening today. This was a really special honor for me to share the wisdom from my elders with all of you. I have many teachers from a multiplicity of practices, but these are my direct teachers in Ifa, the spiritual practice that I am initiated into. While this podcast is about learning from many traditions, I may refer to Ifa at times. I study directly from my Baba, who you just heard from, Awo Fasegun. He shares information from many of the sources that he has studied from, as well as from our Oluwo, which means teacher, Falokun Adesanya Awoyade, in Ibadan, Nigeria, who carries the unbroken tradition of Ifa from the Ijebu lineage. Awo Fasegun is an extremely knowledgeable and humble scholar and teacher. Iya Fayomi is a fierce and loving Iya. I pray that I do them honor as their Omo, their spiritual child. This episode was recorded on the traditional homelands of the Tongva people.